Heya Cryptozens, welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nikodemus and we do crypto news analysis nightly at 10 p.m. And keep in mind, none of this should be considered financial advice. And it's Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. Many businesses felt the impact of Silicon Valley Bank's collapse. One of these was a bank from India that had absolutely no link to SVB. When news broke on March 10th that SVB might shut down, investors worldwide became worried about their investments in one of the largest U.S. banks. The 116-year-old Shamrao Vithal Cooperative Bank is based in Mumbai, and it was unexpectedly affected by the situation. Some Indian citizens were confused because the short forms of the two banks, SVB and SVC Bank, are so similar. They contacted SVC Bank to express their concern. However, the bank released a statement to clear up any misunderstandings. The bank declared that it had no connection to Silicon Valley Bank, and SVC also warned that it would take legal action against anyone spreading rumors that damaged its reputation. On Tuesday, the New York Department of Financial Services denied that it shut down Signature Bank due to crypto-related reasons. They said that it was not intended to send a negative message towards crypto. Over the weekend, NYDFS took over Signature Bank and handed it over to the FDIC. This came after Silvergate Bank announced that it would liquidate its assets voluntarily. Like Silvergate, Signature Bank also served many clients in the crypto industry. A spokesperson for the department released a statement which supported Superintendent Adrienne Harris's comments on Monday. Harris stated that the bank's closure was not related to its involvement with crypto firms. The spokesperson reiterated that the decisions made over the weekend were not linked to crypto activities. They highlighted that Signature Bank was a regular commercial bank with a diverse range of clients, such as small businesses, including food vendors, residential mortgage banking, commercial real estate, and others. Additionally, they said the department has been promoting well-regulated crypto activities for several years and is a national model for regulating the crypto space. On the other hand, you have Barney Frank. Barney Frank is a former lawmaker whose very name is on the 2010 Dodd-Frank Act. He's also a board member of Signature Bank. Now, he has alleged that regulators shut down the bank because of its involvement with crypto clients. Frank endorsed a change to the law in 2018. He shared his views with various news outlets, including CNBC and Politico. He believes that regulators wanted to send an anti-crypto message, and as such, it's his view that Signature Bank became the poster boy for this cause. Frank argues there was no insolvency based on the bank's fundamentals. In rebuttal, the department released a statement that mentioned significant withdrawal requests from the bank over the weekend following a deposit run on Friday. And Frank did admit that depositors withdrew over $10 billion on Friday. Now, the regulators also said the bank failed to provide consistent and reliable data. This created a crisis of confidence in the bank's leadership. The department emphasized that the decision to hand over the bank to the FDIC was only made when it was clear that the bank could not conduct business safely and securely on Monday. The department is working with federal regulators and other officials to review and investigate the events that occurred and to hold individuals accountable. Now, according to a report from the International Business Times on March 14th, Frank still believes his initial accusation. He said, "I think that was a factor. I'm puzzled as to why it was closed." Now, Frank also claimed that bank executives were trying to provide the data to the regulators before it was shut down, but they weren't able to do so. The department has the authority to take over a bank under New York Banking Law Section 606, and this can be for various reasons. This includes if the bank fails to provide its records and affairs for inspection, or if it is not in. This includes if the bank refuses to provide its records and affairs for inspection, or if it is not in a safe or sound condition to conduct business. Now, we also know that the Justice Department was examining whether the bank worked hard enough to detect potential money laundering by its customers. This is according to insiders cited in a March 15th Bloomberg report. The regulator had concerns about whether the bank was taking steps to monitor transactions for criminal activity and to properly vet customers. Additionally, the Securities Exchange Commission was taking a look at the bank, according to two anonymous sources cited in the Bloomberg report. However, no information about the nature of the SEC's investigation was disclosed. The start of the investigations and their impact on the recent decision by the New York state regulators to close down the bank is unknown. However, it was stated that neither Signature Bank nor its employees were accused of any wrongdoing. Furthermore, the actions by the SEC and the DOJ might conclude without any charges or any further action taken against the bank. On March 14th, a class action lawsuit was filed against Signature Bank and former executives by shareholders for falsely claiming to be financially strong just 3 days before it was closed down. The bank was closed on March 12th, along with other banks including Silvergate Bank and Silicon Valley Bank. Reports suggest that the DOJ and the SEC have also launched investigations into the collapse of Silvergate and SVB. The regulators will examine the circumstances that led to the bank's failure, including reviewing security filings that revealed the sale of bank shares by its CEO, Greg Becker, and CFO, Daniel Beck, just 2 weeks before the bank's collapse. While the SEC has not commented formally, Chair Gary Gensler announced on March 12th that it will, quote, investigate and bring enforcement actions if we find violations of federal securities laws. The Central Bank and Treasury of Australia recently met with executives from the international crypto industry to discuss the future of digital assets and regulation in the country. Among those in attendance was Tom Duff Gordon. Now, Gordon is the Vice President of International Policy at Coinbase. He traveled from London to participate in the meetings and made a submission on the Treasury's token mapping consultation paper. This paper was released last month, and it aims to identify the activities and functions of crypto products and to map them against current regulatory frameworks. This process is known as token mapping. Gordon praised the token mapping exercise. He told CoinDesk it was one of the most detailed and thoughtful papers he'd seen on the subject of crypto regulation. Gordon also expressed his excitement for the forthcoming draft rules for the crypto exchanges and custodians. Those rules are expected to be released later this year. He said he appreciated the industry's ability to participate in an open and transparent regulatory process. According to The Australian, Gordon and John O'Loughlin, the managing director of Coinbase Asia Pacific, held several meetings with the government and policy stakeholders in Australia. Gordon said that the central bank is interested in the financial stability and the connection between the traditional financial system and the crypto system. He added that the Treasury in Australia is responsible for establishing the regulatory framework, and the Reserve Bank of Australia may become more involved in the future. The Coinbase submission to the Treasury's token mapping consultation paper focused on ensuring that customers have the information that they need to make informed decisions. Gordon emphasized the importance of disclosure to prevent misleading financial information. Now, in related news, National Australia Bank claims it completed its first cross-border stablecoin transfer by a major financial institution on a Layer 1 public blockchain. They used their own fully backed stablecoin, which is tied to the Australian dollar, for the intrabank transfer. The transaction took place on Ethereum. It used smart contracts for 7 currencies, including dollars from different countries, euro, yen, and British pounds. Now, this comes to us from a statement by Fireblocks. To conduct the cross-border stablecoin transfer, the stablecoins were newly created as bank liabilities on the ERC-20 standard. Drew Bradford is the bank's executive general manager for markets. He expressed their belief in the future of blockchain-enabled finance and the current transformation of the tokenization market. They also emphasized the importance of having strict governance frameworks to ensure the creation of a secure and dependable digital financial system. According to the bank, this pilot demonstrates how the technology could potentially reduce transaction times from days to minutes. This initiative is part of the bank's efforts to streamline international banking protocols. They said that they plan to assist corporate and institutional clients with digital asset transactions by the end of the year. National Australia Bank is the second Australian bank to create an Australian dollar-backed stablecoin. They introduced their coin in January, which is intended for cross-border transfers and carbon credit trading. Additionally, they were one of the 9 founding banks of the Carbon Place blockchain carbon credit transaction network back in February. The first bank to issue the Australian-linked stablecoin was NAB's competitor, the Australian and New Zealand Banking Group. They launched their stablecoin in March of last year. On Wednesday, it was announced that India and the United Arab Emirates would work together to test central bank digital currencies. The Reserve Bank of India and the Central Bank of the UAE signed an agreement in Abu Dhabi to investigate how their CBDCs can work together. The banks will also work together to test a bridge between their CBDCs. This would allow for cross-border transactions for remittances and trade. India has been testing a retail CBDC in 15 cities, reaching over 50,000 customers and 10,000 merchants. They plan to launch their digital currency by the end of this year. Euler Finance is considering legal action against the hacker who stole millions of dollars from their platform. And this is a change from the previous day when they sent a polite message to the hacker asking if they would like to discuss potential next steps. Now, the company has sent an ultimatum, demanding that the hacker returns 90% of the stolen goods within 24 hours or face legal consequences. The message was sent after the hacker ignored their initial message. Euler Finance is asking the hacker to return 90% of the stolen funds. Now that works out to $176.4 million. The hacker would be allowed to keep the remaining $19.6 million. However, some observers have pointed out that the hacker has no real motivation to agree to this deal. If nothing else, the hacker has much more money than Euler now and could easily win in a bidding war for anyone who managed to find them. Euler Labs has already started working with law enforcement in the United States and in the UK to find the hacker who stole funds from their platform. They are also working with blockchain intelligence platforms Chainalysis and TRM Labs, as well as seeking help from wider Ethereum community to track them down. Euler Finance was able to stop the flash loan attack by blocking the vulnerability. This vulnerability was not found during the smart contract audit, despite the fact that the contract had been on-chain for 8 months before it was exploited on March 13th. Germany and the US have seized millions of euros from a popular cryptocurrency mixer called Chip Mixer. On Wednesday, Europol reported that the authorities took down the platform's infrastructure, confiscated 4 servers, 7 terabytes of data, and just over 1,900 Bitcoin. The seized funds amount to around 44 million euros, or $46.3 million. In addition to Germany and the US, Belgium, Poland, and Switzerland supported the recent seizure. The website provided a service that allowed users to conceal their illegal activities such as drug and weapons trafficking, ransomware attacks, and payment fraud. Now, according to Europol, Chip Mixer stands accused of helping to launder 152,000 Bitcoin, which is worth around $3.8 billion at current rates. And reportedly, this isn't innocent money going to support widows and orphans in the Ukraine. A significant portion of this money has been linked to ransomware gangs, illicit goods trafficking, and child sexual exploitation. The use of mixing services really became a part of the conversation in August of 2022. That's when Tornado Cash was sanctioned by the US Treasury Department. Also a cryptocurrency mixer, Tornado Cash was accused of helping North Korea launder money. Shortly after the sanction, the developer of Tornado Cash, Alexei Pertsev, was arrested and as yet has not been released. Anchorage Digital is a crypto bank, and unfortunately, they're also firing 75 workers. That's about 20% of their employees. The bank explains that the reason for the layoffs is the uncertainty of regulations in the US. Anchorage said in a statement on March 14th that the job cuts are part of a, quote, strategic realignment to better focus our resources. This is due to general economic problems and the instability of the crypto market. Now, interestingly, the company reported an increase in demand for its product. They said that their customer assets were at an all-time high. However, the company also acknowledged that the challenging economic, market, and regulatory circumstances are causing problems for the business and the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. In January 2021, Anchorage received the National Trust Bank Charter from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, becoming the first U.S. crypto firm to do so. Despite the layoffs, Anchorage still has faith in the potential of digital assets and its ability to create regulated solutions for digital asset holders. Now, we don't know that the current circumstances of SVB, Signature, and Silvergate, that they had anything to do with Anchorage's choice to downsize its staff. But I have to believe it's true. They've seen the writing on the wall, and it's looking really rough for crypto-related banks in the US. Regulators' claims to the contrary. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listener, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating or a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.